Welcome back. Welcome back to another video. Back on Brandon Johnson. I want to finish it up from earlier today. He has an approval. Had an approval rating of 14%. He's down to 6%. The worst mayor in America. But in this article, it said the other worst mayor was my mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, and he had a 2% rating. I don't believe that because I actually like Kwame. So I don't know, but I personally think that this mayor got 6% approval rating. He is awful, arrogant, pompous, a-hole. He really, really is. And I want to shout out to my new subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna do some kind of giveaway once I get monetized or something, just to show my appreciation. Maybe do a raffle or something, pull numbers like in the chat or something, and just give out some cash out. Not cash outs because I don't have that, but I got PayPal and um Zelle. So anyway, let's get back into this character. So I guess I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna start out with some videos, then I'm gonna read. And he got torn up last Wednesday in Washington D.C. when all the mayors had to come and testify about their sanctuary city policies in Washington. Yeah, I'm gonna start it different. I'm gonna start out with the videos, then I only got a few articles, and then I'll just do some commentary in between. And then I'm going to bed. I had a job in the morning, but I don't think I'm gonna go. This is Anton Daniels with Jessica Jackson. I love her.
My family in particular.
But I want to get to
values that's not Christian. Like the issues with all this transgenderism, this mega push. But city, I know you have.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Now I was like in 8th grade when that record came out.
At the whole replacement, the school board, and all of that stuff that's happening, right? But he just really got into office.
Hey, how are you?
He's gonna be there for another 3 years. What now? Like, how do you deal with? How do you solve for? And I know, of course, it's not just him. I know it's a lot of aldermen and all of this stuff like that happening, right? How do y'all deal? How do you cope as a community activist and as a person that is really participating and trying to bring awareness, trying to educate people, trying to get them to focus more on crime, trying to get them to do the things that's in the best interest of the community? How do you approach it, and what's the sentiment about Brandon Johnson amongst the people, even the ones that voted for him?
The sentiment is the city is fed up. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Even when you say people voted for this, I'm keep rubbing that in your face.
I mean, technically they did though, right? You didn't.
Yeah, no, but you couldn't be. And the people didn't vote for him, so that's an absolute. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even in the face of that, people see now that this is not working, especially because like I know, the only way that the city is going to get out that $1 billion debt is going to be what? Another raise on property taxes.
Yep, it's coming.
Everybody, because clearly that administration can't think their way into another way of fixing this outside of going to the million property taxes.
Crazy property taxes in Chicago.
Crazy, and remember, every mayoral candidate, ran off with two main issues. Number one, that they had to deal with crime, and number two, that they would not increase property taxes. He didn't get in office. Come on, he didn't get in office. Crime ain't moved the needle. Like you said, he got rid of shot spotter with absolutely no plan in place to replace it. Complete irresponsibility.
Right.
Completely irresponsible. If you know that was a campaign promise to get rid of, if you know legally the superintendent didn't have the right to override your decision, then why wouldn't you put into place a plan to replace that if you really feel that it's financially not worth it, if you really feel that the technology of it does not give you the results that you wanted, if you really feel that way and you had that authority, okay, then be responsible and have something to replace it, because crime is an issue in your city. It's completely irresponsible. So some things have to get to your door. Like this one lady said, you're not affected by things until you're affected by it.
Yeah.
Some of these things have not affected some people the same way it might affect somebody else. So it's a wheel that's turning. So the answer to your question, because Illinois has those recall laws and all that give these politicians this level of protection, which is why they think they don't have to do the right thing, which leads back to why my probate situation could be like this. It's documentation with fraud and everything else that those judges, probate judges have committed. Fraud that public administration have committed. All that these tenants told these tenants to squat on me. These tenants have been in this building without paying rent since February 2023.
Wow.
They're trying to intentionally put a financial strain on this estate. Nobody would do anything. Why? Because it's all Democrat. Why? Every Cook County official is a Democrat. Every judge is a Democrat. Every public administrator is a Democrat. The governor is a Democrat. The mayor is a Democrat. There's absolutely nowhere for you to go to get any type of justice in this city, in this state. That's why, for what is it, like the fourth year in a row, I think, Chicago has been rated the #1 most corrupt city in the country. And Illinois has been rated, I think, the second most corrupt state in the country. More public officials get indicted here and all this because it's extremely corrupt. So why do I say go Trump, flip red? Because the citizens of Chicago, if we want some help, we're going to have to get it from the federal level.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing happening on the local level. We need Trump to come in and stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. Close these borders. Do some executive orders or something to stop this sanctuary city stuff. You got to do something. Because just like what you say, 3 more years of this?
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
We're not going to recognize Chicago. Just 4 more years to Kamala Harris and the Democrats. We won't recognize the United States of America.
Facts.
This whole thing is
J.B. Pritzker ain't helping y'all either. J.B. Pritzker ain't helping y'all either.
He's a Democrat.
I know.
See, this is the thing that I try to get the people here to understand. Stop looking at this. We'll make them take that. Let's take Yancey. You know that clip that you showed, and I tell him that's Yancey. He trying to put low income in there, and that's the influence factor, right? All the dancing and Yancey, right?
But that's why he's the worst mayor. Not just because he a Democrat, just because he put the illegals over the people. And that's how they feel. Okay, we got that. And that's not right, because it's the people that voted you in, not the illegals. But that's how I know he getting paid under the table. George Soros. This is it. Oh, maybe that is it. Let me see.
Investigation that's revealing shocking new details into criminal migrant activity in Texas. Brooke Taylor, she's there in Dallas.
No.
bringing these people over here that's from socialist countries and all this and that, and y'all think y'all gonna run that here. Black America said, no, you not. The true white Americans are saying, no, you not. The true Latino, the true Asians are saying, no, you not. I'm telling you, Brandon Johnson, from my heart to yours. Trump 2024. No more blue, no matter who.
Facts.
Donald J. Trump. Trump 2024. He gonna stop the bleeding. He gonna deal with this sanctuary city, and he gonna help us get you out, and he gonna get you anybody out who roll with you, who think they're gonna tear up Chicago. Y'all getting out too. America, you bringing these people over here that's from.
Boom. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. That's Jessica. What is it? I got these dates written down in my phone.
Gender insanity being pushed on our children isn't.
No, not that one. I need to put this with Kodak Black, November 10th. Let me make a note. Kodak Black. I need to get him up. Well, I ain't see that. Oh, let's say the 9th and the 11th. I ain't seen them. Hey, I'm trying to go through these and find this. I ain't seen them. Oh, I might have already played it. Yeah, okay. So let me just go skip on. Hey y'all. Back on this damn Brandon Johnson. Why I'm showing why he is the worst mayor in America. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
In the meantime, President-elect Donald Trump has named an incoming border czar who has a message for blue state governors like J.B. Pritzker. If you do not cooperate on a mass deportation, get out of the way. Political reporter Paris Schutz has more on the brewing battle on immigration.
Trump names former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Tom Homan as his incoming border czar. Homan says he'll carry out Trump's mass deportation of undocumented immigrants, whether cities like Chicago cooperate or not.
This is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation has seen since 9/11. We have to fix it.
Homan warning sanctuary cities to cooperate or else. The city's deputy mayor for immigration says Chicago will stay a haven for undocumented residents, prohibiting local law enforcement from working with federal immigration officials.
The mayor has made clear he's not going to flinch. We have a welcoming city ordinance. We have those protections in place. We will do our best to keep those protections in place.
Chicago Democratic Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, who has undocumented family members, says the battle lines are drawn.
I think this is going to really bottom line, Paris, for some of us, mean to be in the trenches, protecting communities, holding the line, and in some cases with our own bodies.
The battle has immigrant rights organizations gearing up to defend undocumented residents, reminding them of their legal rights.
You have the right not to open your door unless an ICE agent shows you a warrant. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right not to sign any documents that you don't understand. You have the right to consult with a lawyer. All of these rights are guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution.
Chicago successfully sued the first Trump administration.
Now, my thing is, you're not a citizen. So how do you have any rights under the United States Constitution? You are not a citizen. You don't have no rights. except for the universal laws of the universe, of God's laws. But other than that, you don't have no rights here. You're not a citizen. How do they keep saying that like they got due process? No, you don't.
And won when it decided to withhold public safety funding. Precedent for future legal battles the city will most likely find itself in. Homan has declared a return of workplace immigration raids, starting with those deemed a threat to public safety. Paris Schutz, Fox 32, Chicago.
And they did. They went to the Amazon warehouse in New York and deported those migrants there. You ain't got no rights. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And this is why Brandon Johnson has a 6% approval rating. Could you please enable streaming? What you want to come up? If you want to come up, I'll drop the link. But this is why he got a 6% approval rating.
Johnson making it clear today whether it's protecting undocumented families in Chicago or his budget priorities. He will not compromise on his values, but on the budget, he seems willing to ease some of the pain on his proposed property tax hike. Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $300 million property tax hike has received significant criticism from alderpersons from the moment he introduced it right up until today, as public safety and other departments were getting their budgets scrutinized. What we know is this: we are working to ensure that we go line by line to squeeze this budget as much as we can before we ask for $1 more from taxpayers. In light of all the pushback from the council, the mayor suggesting his tax hike plan may not have been as serious as originally thought.
Well, I don't necessarily consider it as pushback. I'll say it like this. So as a public school teacher, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. And so now that we have the attention of everyone, I've said from the very beginning, this is I am a collaborative mayor.
But Mayor Johnson said layoffs. All lies. That's not.
He is a liar. As a teacher, he should have stayed a teacher. He went in on a pretense of saying that he was not going to raise property tax. But when you have $1 billion deficit and half of that budget, 500 grand, went to helping illegals, this why he got a 6% stream out. So you want the link? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't know what you're saying. If you want to come up, I'll put the okay, I think I copied the link. That's the link if you want to come up. All right. And I'm starting out with the video, and then I'm about to damn. I hate when this happens. Me doing that, I done lost my place. So you know what? I'm gonna stop there. Let it do what it do. And I'm about to go here to keep it moving. Now is this the least popular politician in America? America's least popular politician is the mayor of large, economically critical city in a blue state, but not the one who was under federal indictment. Chicago mayor, hold on, and let me delete this as I'm doing this. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has seen his reputation collapse. He's a liar, arrogant, he's an a-hole. A recent poll from M3 Strategies conducted between February 20th and 21st showed the Democrat who is just 2 years in his tenure with a 6.6% approval. That is pitiful. And you have not changed your tone. He's still preaching Chicago, the welcoming city. You're not listening to your constituents. You're just doing whatever you want to do. They must be paying you a lot of money under the table, you crook. One of the worst showings for any major figure in the country's history. Johnson took office May 2023. In October of that year, his approval rating was already down to 28%. Those numbers fell to 14%. That's the last time I did a video on him because he was at 14%. Now he has 6 4 months later. And it's sad that Illinois got those recall laws that they can't just boot him out of office. So I think there's a bill to change that. Newsweek reached out to Johnson's office by email for comment, but did not immediately receive a response. You think? Johnson's approval rating is lower than the scandal ridden governors like Illinois Rod Bavalovich. I know I messed that up, but Trump just pardoned him, whose approval bottomed out at 8% before he was impeached on corruption charges and removed from office in 2009. And former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie in 2018 had a 15% approval rating after the Bridgegate scandal destroyed his presidential ambitions. Chicago and Illinois generally consistently produces some of the least popular elected officials in the country. Why do y'all keep electing these people? Just because somebody, I'm not voting on skin color no more. Just because you black, you not getting my vote. Because y'all been selling us down the river for 50 years. For real. I'm not giving you, I'm only voting policy and what's good for me and my family. You black, no, you ain't get, no, you just don't get it because you black. I don't care anymore. No. What do you stand for? But Johnson's numbers are in a league of their own, even more dismal than his predecessor, who ultimately failed to advance to the runoff in her bid for re-election in 2023. Lori Lightfoot, who was receiving a robust 48% approval at the same point in her term, left office with just 22% approval. Lightfoot's predecessor, Rahm Emanuel, he was in Obama's cabinet, was polling at 18% approval rating when he decided not to seek a third term in 2018. Both Lightfoot and Emanuel are Democrats. And at this point, the way they've been acting, I have no plans to ever vote Democrat again. They just awful. What they've been doing since Trump been in, they are awful. Now that's my opinion. You do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do. According to Newsweek, an analyst, the only elected office holder who has polled worse than Johnson, and I disagree with this, is Detroit Kwame Kilpatrick. I'm in Detroit. I like Kwame, okay? A Democrat, they said he had a 2% rate approval rating in 2008. His sharp decline in public approval stemmed from the multiple scandals that ultimately led to him, Kilpatrick, to resign from office after pleading guilty to felony charges, including obstruction of justice and perjury. And he did do time, and Trump pardoned him. And that's what it says in the next paragraph. President Donald Trump commuted Kilpatrick's sentence in the final hours of his first term, allowing the former mayor to gain release 20 years early. Trump did not vacate his conviction. Chicago residents won't elect a new mayor until 2027. Now they got to put up with this arrogant, pompous a-hole. I mean, he is the worst. But among the potential candidates, Johnson is the least popular likely contender, with 80% of the respondents in the M3 poll marking him unfavorable, while the five other prospective candidates had less name recognition than Johnson. No one was more unpopular than him. Illinois Secretary of State Alexis Giovanni's, that's Italian, was the most popular choice with 49% approval rating, followed by former mayoral candidate Paul Vallis at 41% favorable. Illinois Comptroller Susanna Mendoza, 38%. Vallis was the runner up in Chicago's 2023 mayoral race. He ultimately lost to Johnson. Huh, boy, did they make a mistake. Even the field's lesser known candidates, Representative Cam Buckner and Alderman Bill Conway, had higher favorability ratings with 18 and 15%, 15%, while 35% and 42% of respondents said they had never heard of Buckner or Conway. Only 1% never heard of Johnson. Asked if the election were held today, only 8.2% said they would re-elect Johnson. Comparatively, 27.4% will vote for Vallis, 21% for Javanis, and 11.7% for Mendoza. Honey, I don't see why is he so unpopular. The poll found that crime was far and away the top issue with Chicagoans. He took away spot fire, where when shots were fired, the police would notify, would come up, and they were able to get to where these shots were fired. Oh, Shemay, I just realized you was up here. I'm sorry. Let me let you in. You can unmute. You can unmute your mic, or you want me to unmute it. Well, when you're ready to unmute, let me know. Now, the other major issues reported by respondents include high taxes. He ran on the premise that he would not raise property taxes and turned around and did. Wanted to propose that because they had a $1 billion deficit. He wanted a 300% increase in property taxes and inflation and immigration. Crime in Chicago has been on the rise in recent years, although murders in the city dropped 29%, because that's what he always talk about. Crime is down. No, it's not. Murders is down. Other crimes, including robbery, burglary, and theft and motor vehicle theft, all rose over the same time. Arrest rates for violent crimes has also declined. In 2024, arrests were made in 1 in 7 violent crime cases, according to Illinois Policy Institute, continuing a downward trend over the past 2 decades. About 1 in 7 violent crime cases, according to Illinois Policy Institute, contributes a downward trend over the past 2 decades. Johnson has instituted several controversial crime related policies, including discontinuing the shot spider, which I just explained, a gunshot detection system that has been in use since 2012. Overall, the number of major felony offenses in the city, which include murder, rape, robbery, assault, burglary, grand larceny, and, and grand larceny of a motor vehicle, climbed 44% between 2021 and 2024. Boom. Now, let me go back. I read it. Now, let me go back to the, I forgot, where was I going? November 1911. Well, when you're ready to talk, Shamir, you can unmute yourself. I'm looking for this video because my phone did something. I don't know what it did. Because I just want to finish up Brandon Johnson and get him. But we showing you why he is the worst. As I'm waiting because it moved. I can't stand this phone, y'all. almost there. But I want to thank y'all so much, and you know, and being a part of my life. I really appreciate y'all. I really do. I really do. I appreciate my new. I lost a subscriber today. I guess because a lot of times I realize people are not interested in the truth, and so I try to put the entertainment in there, just to make it more interesting. Okay, I'm almost there. Almost did that. Okay, let me mark this off my list. Where's my pen? Now I lost my pen. Damn. Oh, right here. So we did that one. 9, 11, 14. Oh, here we go.
Mayor Brandon Johnson making it clear today whether it's protecting undocumented families in Chicago or his budget priorities, he will not compromise on his values. But on the budget, he seems willing to ease some of the pain on his proposed property tax hike. Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $300 million property tax hike has received significant criticism from alderpersons from the moment he introduced it right up until today, as public safety and other departments were getting their budgets scrutinized.
What we know is this: we are working to ensure that we go line by line to squeeze this budget as much as we can before we ask for $1 more from taxpayers.
In light of all the pushback from the council, the mayor suggesting his tax hike plan may not have been as serious as originally thought.
Well, I don't necessarily consider it as pushback.
And you lied because you said you wasn't going to raise taxes. You said that. And you lied. So now you a liar.
Speaking of the migrant crisis, speaking of budget, speaking of property taxes, speaking of the rest, speaking of running the... How did y'all let a public school teacher become the mayor of Chicago? And
right.
This man gonna lie to y'all.
Right.
And say, sometimes as a public school teacher, we do things to get y'all attention, and now that we got y'all attention, nigga, what you think this is?
Right. A game?
What you think this is?
A game? A game.
This is people's real lives and real money that we playing with here. This ain't no game.
Right.
Talking about you doing stuff to get people's attention. People can't even go to the grocery store. They got crime that's written their communities, that's taking over their communities, and they robbing dollar stores. As a public school teacher, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. Is you crazy?
Exactly.
You smoking crack?
Exactly.
You liar?
Hey.
Get the hell out of here. You're not doing stuff to get people's attention when you're talking about a $942 million budget deficit in Chicago.
Right.
And what y'all doing electing this guy? Why would y'all elect this man to be the mayor of Chicago? Is y'all crazy? And some people actually donated to his campaign.
I'm a collaborative mayor.
But Mayor Johnson said layoffs and furloughs are still out of the question, and he won't defer making a supplemental pension payment this year. The mayor denied misreading the council when he announced the property tax hike.
My finance team continues to have robust conversations about other forms of revenue that they should consider.
Also today, with the potential loss of federal dollars law enforcement if the city won't cooperate with the Trump administration's plans to deport undocumented immigrants, the mayor making it clear Chicago will not be bullied into helping ICE agents.
We're not going to bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
Listen.
Let's see, because now you're being investigated. You're being investigated now. You're being investigated now.
Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in your side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side, too. If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand, and we're going to stop it. You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red. Y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 3%? Well, see, Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You wearing that creep over there.
Acting like, you just going to bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral.
Facts.
You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin. But those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know that at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley. And everybody come at him.
Yep.
He ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the president of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in City Hall. You know what it is. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on.
That's right.
Loser where he is. He's a loser. No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon Johnson, across the United States for how they see you. But 14% rating. Now, I'm going to talk about all those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting the pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Started off with that.
In the letter calling for the special meeting, the only item up today for consideration is item number 024-00013679 and ordinance of nays. This matter has been voted down. Alderman Mitchell on a motion to adjourn.
As they should. That's why you got approved. You went from 14% down to 6%. Even the police didn't want you to come to the funeral. Let's get into that.
Developing tonight, disagreement over how to honor a fallen Chicago police officer.
Enrique Martinez's funeral is Monday, and his loved ones are asking the mayor not to attend, but he says he's going anyway.
Our Jermont Terry shares the perspective from one of Martinez's family friends tonight. Jermont?
Joe and Erica, as the city prepares to honor Officer Martinez, who was killed while on duty, his family, through representatives, making it very clear that the man leading the city should not step foot into the services. Standing outside the 8th Police District, members of the FOP and close friends of fallen CPD officer Enrique Martinez spoke out in solidarity. Enrique Martinez's family called me up this evening and said they could not do this. They definitely do not want the mayor and any of the functions for Enrique. Plain and simple, they are here relaying the message from the family directly to Mayor Brandon Johnson. Martinez's family. Even the police hate you. I'm gonna remove you, Samir. You can come back up when you're ready to say so I can make my screen bigger. Okay, I appreciate you. Yep, I'm just gonna drop you down. All right.
Fallen Chicago officer will soon be laid to rest. Officer Enrique Martinez was killed serving in the line of duty earlier this month.
Judy's live on more with his services and Mayor Johnson's decision not to attend tomorrow. Judy.
The city is preparing to say a final goodbye to Officer Enrique Martinez. Visitation will begin this afternoon here at the Blake Lamb Funeral Home, followed by the funeral service Monday morning. Martinez was killed in the line of duty 2 weeks ago while attempting to conduct a traffic stop in East Chatham. The 26-year-old worked in the Gresham district. Next month, he would have celebrated his 3rd anniversary as a member of the Chicago Police Department. November 4th, Martinez and his partner responded to a call that turned out to be based on false information. They saw a Ford Escape double parked at 80th and South Ingleside. Its taillight was out and it had fraudulent registration. Court documents say when officers approached the vehicle, passenger Darian McMillan shot Martinez 5 times.
Wow.
Harvey and a convicted felon was on electronic monitoring in connection with 2 pending Will County cases. Enrique Martinez is the 2nd Chicago police officer killed in the line of duty this year. In April,
and the other one, oh, I probably should didn't even want him at their funeral either. Oh no, let me go ahead and bypass that, get rid of that. Okay.
Good Sunday evening. I'm Chris Ty. Welcome to our viewers here on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. Great to have you along on this Sunday. We begin with a tribute underway at this hour for fallen Chicago police officer Enrique Martinez. The rookie officer, as you may know, was shot and killed during a traffic stop. Our Andrew Ramos is in Oak Lawn, where family and colleagues are holding a visitation tonight.
Well, it's been a steady stream of mourners here at the Blake Lamb Funeral Home, where visitation is still underway for fallen police officer Enrique Martinez. Now, in addition to his peers, the CPD, those who knew him best, friends and family, are also in attendance. It was just 2 weeks ago when Officer Martinez was shot and killed while making a traffic stop in the Chatham neighborhood.
Oh, we went over that.
26-year-old.
Yeah, we did that one. Okay, now I'm on November. Okay, hold on. We got past that. 17. Okay, the 21st. Then I'm gonna go back to these articles because I'm gonna be done. I want to get all this old stuff out my phone.
Now to NBC5 investigates, which for months has followed the money trail tied to Chicago's migrant mission. Total spending now tops more than $400 million.
Now, despite the creation of a city spending website, it's still not exactly clear where all of that money has gone.
A few moments later.
I won't raise your property taxes.
Then candidate for mayor, Brandon Johnson.
A few moments later.
Mayor Brandon Johnson was more than 40 minutes into his speech before he broke the bad news to homeowners across the city.
This budget currently includes a property tax increase of $300 million to fund and keep our commitment to fund not just our pension contributions, but to fund the future of our city.
A few moments later.
Good afternoon.
I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see that?
The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented, right? You're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your 33%.
For a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals and gotta take your money right back.
A few moments later.
The first breaking news at City Hall. Mayor Brandon Johnson's property tax hike is rejected by City Council.
It was an increase the mayor called to balance the budget. Sabrina Fonzie joins us live. Sabrina, a lot has happened.
Yep, but that's why he is considered the worst mayor in America. Oh, shoot.
At this point, this is who needs to get canceled. We need to cancel D.L. Hughley. We need to cancel Roland Martin. We need to cancel Steve Harvey. We need to cancel class everybody who tried to lead us into a burning building. We are Chicago Red. We are all over the media, all over everywhere. This is what we are going through, telling our story. Jessica Jackson telling how the Democrat Party is stealing people's property. Zoe Lee, time and time again, we have been on every council meeting talking about showing how the Democrat Party, especially in Chicago, is stealing black people property, how they're putting all these illegals in our neighborhood, pushing us out of our homes, and giving them all the resources, all on the backs of trying to tax us. We didn't vote for these people, but we have to suffer the consequences of people who vote just blue, no matter who. We got to suffer the consequences of their actions and their education.
Right.
They choose all while knowing that they're not qualified, that to be the detriment to the black community. Now, Roland Martin placed himself on and whatever media company, black media company. D.L. Hughley prided himself on, being a black man with a black radio. Steve Harvey. Now, Chicago Flips Red have been in the meetings. We have been going. Everybody has been going viral from just us going and showing what we are going. We have been going viral, and everybody from the YouTubers, number one YouTubers, the Fox News, all the news stations, they're covering us. Ask me this. You all don't find it strange that not one, Roland Martin, you on YouTube, not one of these people have asked Chicago Flips Red to come and talk about what's going on. We are black people talking about black issues, talking about what's really going on in our neighborhood, talking about everything we are going through far as being taxed out of our homes. Our homes are being taken, stolen, and they're putting illegals all in our neighborhood, pushing us out. This is what we have screaming. This is what we are shouting on. We have an idiot Mohawk man, Brandon Johnson, who don't care. Yes, he's black, and he's a Democrat.
And you know what? She's absolutely right.
And she is absolutely right. She is. Yes, she is. But that's why he got the rating that he got, 6%. I would be embarrassed to be a mayor and have a 6% approval rating. I would resign.
Cities continue to grow along Chicago's lakefront, sparking concerns, there's that word, for residents. Do you think some of these folks were kicked out of their housing because Chicago put all of their money, all of their resources into the illegals?
Fact.
We're going to find out. Here we go. Let's watch a quick video from Fox 32 in Chicago. Good station. Here we go.
We've gotten calls from constituents, from neighbors, from anyone who walks on the lakefront that they've seen an increase in the tents.
48th Ward Alderwoman Lenny Hoppenworth says it's become especially problematic in the parks bordering the drive between Montrose and Bryn Mawr. Some stretch.
All right, just a quick observation here, a super quick observation. There isn't garbage everywhere, so who gets the boot? Chicago.
So now the immigrants that had no place, because a lot of them not gonna make it here. They not. They didn't come with skills. They not. They suffering too. I can get rid of that.
All of the illicit wealth in the world has been tracked by the National.
Let me see. Oh, I got rid of that. 24, 25, 27. All right, 27. What's this? Hey, boo. Hey. Trying to find this next, trying to get all this stuff out of my phone. This why you got this why
30 members of an extremely violent Venezuelan prison gang. Yep, they've been busted in Chicago in the last 2 years. But don't worry, multiple of them have already been released from jail. Yeah, we're not going to deport you. Just we'll parole you to the United States. It should work out fine. It should be all good. What's the deal with this? This is exactly what the residents of Chicago are pushing back.
Fact.
Let's go Brandon Johnson, Chicago's mayor, right now. Because he spent $500 million on supporting the illegals.
Yep.
And now he's asking for $300 million, which he didn't get in the form of increasing the property taxes of Chicago residents. He asked for $300 million. And you know what the vote was? 50-0. Let's go, Brandon Johnson, with your plan. Let's get into it. Here we go. I find it is borderline comedy how just mentally skewed these folks are that thought this is going to be the greatest thing ever. We're going to make ourselves a sanctuary city. And then, good Lord, they're expensive. Those illegals are expensive.
Right.
And then you've got criminals getting busted. And then because you're a sanctuary city,
is that Tren de Aragua members have been released into the country in the last couple of years to wreak havoc in the United States in places like Aurora, Colorado, where they're taking over apartment complexes, as well as in El Paso, where they are operating stash houses out of local hotels. In places like New York City, they've been shooting cops and smuggling those guns used to carry out their crimes into migrant shelters in food delivery bags. much has been brushed under the rug by state and local leaders facing these issues, including in Colorado, where the governor there has told us that this is imagination, that they've been taken over apartment complexes. And now Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, in contrast with that, is taking his own actions to go after the gang, seeing that they're likely here to stay. The United States right now doesn't have diplomatic relations with Venezuela, which is now refusing to accept deportation.
Well, they do. Well, they are accepting them now. But anyway, 30 violent Trinidad Daraga gang members arrested in Chicago, and Brandon Johnson wants to protect the illegals. And that's why he has a 6% approval rating. Is this, wait, let me see if this Chicago
is a secret migrant shelter. To anyone else, it just looks like a La Quinta Inn, one of the over 800 in the United States. But this is no ordinary hotel. If you Google this address, you'll see that you can't book a night here. Yet there's no information online about the fact that this is a migrant shelter. I got a tip from someone who walks by this place every day, and so we're here to check it out.
I don't think that's Chicago. That's not Chicago. Oh shoot, let me write this down because I'm gonna do Wendy Williams. I forgot that. Okay. All right, I'm gonna end that there. Go back to my article. Now, nearly 80% of Chicagoans disapprove of Mayor Brandon Johnson's new poll finds. Just under 80% of Chicago respondents to a poll this month said they disapprove of the job Brandon Johnson is doing. The same poll also found that 2/3 of the respondents said crime was a top issue in Chicago. 80% disapprove of him, Brandon Johnson. Just under 80% of respondents in a new poll said they disapprove of the job of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. The overwhelming disapproval comes from a survey of nearly 700 Chicago voters conducted from February 20th and 21st by M3 Strategies. It's the latest sign of respondents' frustration with Johnson, who took office in May 2023 and whose tenure has been marked by continued violent crime and tensions with aldermen over city finances and leadership of Chicago public schools, along with a $1 billion deficit of taking care of the illegals. A whopping 79.9% said they disapprove of him. Only 6.6% of respondents held a favorable record, which gave him a net favorability of negative 73.3%. About 12% excuse me, of the respondents had a neutral opinion of him. The findings of M3 Strategies poll align closely with the findings by Libertarian Illinois Policy Institute. They asked residents what they thought was the biggest issue facing Chicago. The top issue in the city was crime. Crime, 67%. High taxes, 54%. Inflation, cost of goods and services, 41%. Immigration, 24%. More funding for CPS, 20%. Racism, 11%. Need for school choice vouchers, 6%. Reproductive freedoms, 4%. And that's what the Democrats run on. I could care less about abortion. Pollsters also asked respondents to disclose who they voted for in 2024 presidential election and how they identify in terms of political ideology. Nearly 71% of those polled said they voted for former VP Kamala Harris. 18% said they voted for Donald Trump. About 8.5% said they voted for another candidate. Just under 40% of respondents said they identify as moderate in terms of their political ideology. A little over 17% identified as either somewhat or very conservative, and 43% identify as liberal. Most black folks is conservative as far as our values. We really are. About 27% of respondents identify as African American, 19% Hispanic or Latino, 5.5% as Asian American, and 43% as white. But this is why he has the lowest in history. And I'm gonna get back. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the let me see what I got going on. All right, I went past that. 12:3. Damn. Don't make no sense. It moved again. What are you doing, Max? I hate when my phone does that. I have everything set up and then it just do what it want to do. Come on. Okay. All right, I'm almost there, y'all. I appreciate y'all, I really do. I have so much stuff in here. It just don't make no sense. Okay, here, yep, it's coming up. Oh, shoot, I need this because my next one I'm doing on Etsy. Ear holder. 12:3. I needed that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you, God. And here we go.
What to talk about is mass deportations. Now, Tom Homan, and we already know that signed it also. The federal government has done this quite.
We're going to enforce the law, period. And they're not going to stop us.
All right, joining me now, the Denver Mayor, Mike Johnston. So, Mayor Johnston, you heard what he said. You got something in common. You're willing to go to jail. He's willing to put you there. He says he's going to enforce
Let me
law.
go back.
Are you willing to?
We're going to enforce the law, period.
This comes after the mayor.
That they deserve.
Yeah. Meantime, let me give you an actual example or a conversation that was had with Mayor Mike Johnston on obviously competing network CNN, and what he had to say in response to the border czars threatening to jail him.
Tonight, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, threatens to put the Democratic mayor of Denver in jail. This comes after the mayor, who's my next guest, talked about resisting federal forces trying to carry out mass deportation, saying, quote, more than us having the Denver Police Department stationed at the county line to keep them out, you would have 50,000 Denverites there. It's like the Tiananmen Square moment with the rose and the gun. Holman firing back on Fox News.
Me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. We're going to enforce the law, period. And they're not going to stop us.
All right, joining me now, the Denver Mayor, Mike Johnston. So, Mayor Johnston, you heard what he said. You got something in common. You're willing to go to jail. He's willing to put you there. He says he's going to enforce the law. Are you willing to go to jail?
To solve this problem. If they want to focus on violent criminals, we would be happy to help support pursuing, arresting, and deporting them. We've helped past administrations. We'd do that again. If they want to focus on adding more judicial capacity so folks with asylum claims can have those cases heard more quickly, we would support that. What we're not going to do is support deploying the 101st Airborne into a...
Oh, you know what? I just realized that wasn't Chicago. Oh, here we go. Back to Chicago. I'm getting sleepy.
Residents' outrage over the city's sanctuary policies erupted at a city council meeting yesterday. They gave Mayor Brandon Johnson and Chicago Democrats an earful for prioritizing illegal immigrants over struggling Americans, and rooted for, listen to this, President-elect Trump.
So, Brandon, you and all these Democratic mayors out here and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all stood up there and said you would not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit.
Facts.
And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. Trump, Tom Holman, make it out this right here. It's gonna help you. We want a forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you
We want a
keep
forensic.
your, hold on a second, stop her time.
Our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals. We are out of the business of prioritizing non-American citizens on top of the American citizens who go out in this cold weather every day to make money to pay their taxes.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
Here you are with another gritty property tax hike, trying to push the have-nots to house your precious illegal immigrants. You told Trump you ain't gonna blink. Well, we ain't either. You ain't above the law. And where you gonna run to when Trump pulls that Trump card out on you?
Right.
I will make it my duty to try to get my gun to perform an Operation Great Lord in Chicago and like you crooked Democrats up, and it's just like that.
Just like that. Get them out of here.
Come on, everybody. Thank you for joining me today.
Come on, I'll tell one off because I just played that. I think this is the same one. I'm gonna take
Charnel Lane.
Black people.
It's already going.
They all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it. Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're gonna let all y'all constituents know who y'all bragging for. That y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So that's what we're doing. That's cool because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's gonna ride? I think not. That's Chicago red. We not playing.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is...
Excuse me just a second. If you continue to shout, I will clear the chamber. That is your only warning. Okay? Next person, please.
Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
I love her. I like Danny, Zoe.
So, Mayor Brandon Johnson, I was always taught that a man's word is his bond. I was always told that if you can't take a person at their word, you can't take them at nothing.
Facts.
Right? So, because I was raised that way, I stand by my word. There's two words I gave you. The first word was, we coming for them seats. And we are. And we are. The second word I gave is that we was gonna make y'all famous. And we gonna make y'all famous. Starting with Famous Friday. Every Friday at 6 o'clock, we're gonna be on Zoe's YouTube. Tune in, Zoe Lee. And we're gonna get you one at a time. Starting with, gonna pull your name out of a hat. And we're gonna see who is the lucky person who gets to go first. Let's see who's down here. Drum roll, please. Let's go. We're gonna make
She a mess, but she be on.
Friday at 6 o'clock. Featured on the Zoe Lee YouTube is older person, because I'm not getting caught up in pronouns and junk. Older person, Jessie Fuentes. Yay! She's not here, but her people are. Y'all get the word to her. Make sure y'all tune in so you know what to expect when you.
Man, they be crack-a-lacking. That's all I got to say. We unsend that. Okay, so we finished with this. Oh, 12.
Here is Taiwan Sims.
Just get to the bottom of it. But you, Brandon Johnson, have ignored every plea, call, cry that I or any individual have come in this room and made. But you, sir, said also the other day that the presidency or Trump disrupts Black Americans. It doesn't. You disrupt Black Americans.
Facts.
Your workforce development scheme with Michael David Rodriguez, your immigration scheme with Vasquez, and your housing scheme with Cjo Lopez. You a criminal. You should be investigated by the IG. This is a room full of criminals, y'all.
Preach.
This is a room full of criminals, and they don't want this man up here. Because I don't look, y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue, and y'all don't pledge the oath. Y'all pledge to serve us, not Cotton Sorrow.
Facts.
Not a personal interest, but y'all do. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Simmons, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? You and Cjo Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech? You need to be inspected. You ain't.
Sergeant at Arms, please restore order, please.
You serve a relationship in the first place.
He's mad.
And you a man. You a man.
Right,
You gonna address it, and they gonna address you. God, when you look at it, you want me in back. I'm ready, y'all.
Mr. Sims out of the chamber.
But that's why he got to get out. He is the worst mayor.
If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him.
President-elect Trump's new border czar says mass deportation efforts will begin right here in Chicago and issues a warning to Mayor Johnson.
And that's not all. He had harsh words for others, the mayor, as well as Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Sylvia Price joins us now with more.
Yeah. His name is Tom Homan, and he's Trump's handpicked man for border czar. He recently spoke at a Northside GOP verifying the status of asylum seekers and, as you heard, arresting anyone who is found harboring migrants who they are looking for, including Chicago's own mayor. He called out both Johnson and Governor Pritzker, saying he wants to meet with them, but the invitation came with some harsh words.
Chicago's in trouble because your mayor sucks and your governor sucks.
Fact.
And we spoke with Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez, who met with Homan privately. He says the messaging may have been too harsh, but Pritzker and Johnson should be working with the government to deport migrants who are breaking the law.
If you are here and undocumented and trying to go about your business, then let's figure something out. If you're here choosing to engage in gang activity, drugs, prostitution, human trafficking, or sex crimes against minors, then absolutely, your number has come.
Governor Pritzker's office had this to say about Homan's comments. It is administration. Rather than responding to every ridiculous boast from Trump lackeys, Governor Pritzker is focused on what he was focused on during the first Trump term, leading our state with competence instead of chaos. Homan.
And now, Brandon Johnson, you are under investigation by Pam Bondi. The paperwork was turned over. And I don't like the governor, but this the governor.
Border czar says Illinois will be ground zero for mass deportations. It'll focus in on Chicago's migrant population.
Governor J.B. Pritzker is pushing back, saying he'll protect everyone's rights. WGN's Mike Lowe reports on today's remarks.
The governor says he is willing to meet with Trump administration officials, but he says he has a duty to protect asylum seekers and immigrants who are in the state legally.
They've been put in a position of fear.
Governor J.B. Pritzker responded to threats from the incoming Trump administration.
They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone fast.
By saying it's his duty to follow the law. We're going to follow the law. President-elect Trump has said he plans to round up immigrants and deport them by using the U.S. military on domestic. Says that is constitutional and illegal.
He does not have to do the things that he's talked about.
Pritzker's comments are a rebuttal to Trump's incoming border czar, who assailed Illinois Democrats on the issue of immigration this week, speaking to a small crowd what headlines would later scream to the entire city, that Illinois would be ground zero for mass deportations.
And I want to be clear, if you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table.
Tom Homan spoke at a holiday party hosted by the North Side GOP and the Law and Order Political Action.
And he not playing. He is not playing. Eric Adams had it right. He met with Tom Homan, Donald Trump. Charges dropped. everything. He the only one that did the right thing. Oh, this all a drone stuff. Oh, shoot, shoot, shoot. What's my next one? 13, 14, 15.
New York and Chicago, they're saying that Chicago is going to be ground zero for deportations. But before we get to Chicago, let's talk about to New York, because New York is now announcing plans to close dozens of migrant shelters.
Because they don't need them.
Today, New York City announced plans to close a number of city-run migrant shelters, including this controversial one.
Okay, I don't need that. That's mainly, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, oh, shoot. I'm going to get rid of that. Because they don't need them. Oh, that's funny. This one, my phone was tripping. So I'm going to finish this. Finish Brandon Johnson.
Allegedly forced into sex work along the.
Oh, let me write this down because I'm doing Wendy Williams. What is this? 12. $15. All right. What's this?
Well, looks like a drone.
Oh, that's the drone.
Bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. Well, if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him.
We're not. Put your hands behind your back. Still one of our favorite clips.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Just a second.
Some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're gonna help you. We want a forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Just a second.
Please come make an example out of Brandon.
I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking.
I'm telling you. Yeah, see if you get voted back in. See if you get voted back in. Here we go, and here go ICE touching down in Chicago. And I'm going to read my article.
The crisis at the border goes beyond the border, right? It impacts all of us, not just people living along it. More than 100,000 encounters a month with even some fugitives and convicts trickling into our cities. We're going to talk about in our next segment. Last month, we hosted a border special where our reporters went on ride-alongs with law enforcement in Arizona and Texas. We saw a whole lot of activity on a random hour on a random Thursday. So then our Alex Capriello dug in deeper with ICE's enforcement and removal team, which tracks down violent criminals who are here illegally. He spent 2 days embedded with them, and here's some of what he saw.
There's always a level of adrenaline starts pumping when you get into these situations, especially when you're dealing with an individual who has a violent history, or documented gangbanger, or maybe a part of a larger criminal organization.
Looks like everyone's in place.
He's parking in front of the Charger. All right, he's exiting the vehicle. Mirza, he's coming your way.
We're over immigration. So you guys got ICE. We'll give you an opportunity to call your wife, like I said, sir, okay?
All across the country, in big cities and small towns, convicted criminals live among us. And while that may not come as a surprise, what could shock you is that some of these threats to society have broken federal immigration laws and aren't supposed to be within our borders at all.
So even though you're living perhaps day to day, looking over your shoulder, you're still potentially caught off guard in that moment.
Absolutely. Nothing's ever
For him,
happened.
it was just an ordinary Tuesday
Just an
morning.
ordinary Tuesday. Unbeknown to him, we had been watching him for 2 weeks.
That's where ICE's Enforcement and Removal
Wow.
Operations team comes in, known as ERO. To protect their status as undercover officers, we've blurred some of their faces. This elite squad of federal law enforcement officers are responsible for sniffing out, tracking down, and arresting threats to national security, public safety, and border integrity. They primarily...
Samir, did you have anything you wanted to add? I'll be right back. I need to get me let's see, hold on, and I need some water. I'll be right back. Oh. Hey, Max, you comfortable? You know? Oh. Ow! Damn! I'm sorry, Max. I'm sorry, Max. Come here. I didn't mean to step on your claw. I'm sorry, Max. Come here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, Grayson. I'm sorry. I stepped on the on my cat paw. Hey, it's 3:00 in the morning. I didn't know it was this late.
Primarily target what they call the most egregious offenders.
The people who we're majorly dealing with are convicted criminals. Many of them hardened convicted criminals.
For 2 days, News Nation was given the unique privilege of riding along with this trained team of officers to see the detail they pour into their work, the risks associated with their mission, and the precision it takes to get the job done. Based out of the Midwest, the Chicago ERO field office has more than 300 agents responsible for criminal arrests throughout much of the Midwest.
That the Midwest is probably the #1 destination that they're all claiming to be going to. We have some pretty solid intel that the actual leader of this gang is living in the Chicago area.
Wow.
We met with a team of officers before Sunny.
Damn. Mayor Brandon Johnson testimony to Congress, he scapegoated the entire time. He was misleading and unjust in his testimony. I'm gonna drop you down, Shamir. I'm not removing you. I'm just gonna drop you down. Wait a minute. Yeah. Mayor Brandon Johnson on Wednesday fiercely defended Chicago's welcoming city ordinance for undocumented immigrants, telling Republicans on the U.S. House Oversight Committee that the city's welcoming city ordinance makes Chicagoans safer. That's a lie. He scapegoated entire communities. It's not only misleading, it is unjust, and it is beneath us, Johnson said during his opening statement. Any action that amplifies fears of deportation makes Chicago more dangerous. Michelle Wu, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, and New York's Eric Adams, all four Democrats. But the Justice Department moved to dismiss Adams' corruption case in an apparent exchange for his help with Trump's effort to conduct the largest mass deportation in history. That's not why it was unjust, because he questioned the Biden-Harris administration about immigration, and that's why they did trumped up charges against Eric Adams as they did Trump. It's called lawfare, weaponization of the DOJ, Department of Justice. Johnson repeatedly boasted that Chicago's crime rate has dropped since he took office 20 months ago, even as the city struggled to care for more than 50,000 people, many fleeing violence and economic collapse in Venezuela, arrived in Chicago, most on buses from Texas. We still have a long way to go, but sensationalizing tragedy in the name of political expediency is not governing, it's grandstanding. Whatever, you under investigation now. The committee has accused all four mayors of prioritizing criminal illegal aliens over the American people, and that's exactly what they did. Comer used his opening statement to take direct aim at Chicago, accusing police of refusing to turn over undocumented man arrested for attempting to lure a child to federal immigration agents. Comer did not identify the man. Chicago's welcoming city ordinance is designed to ensure that all Chicago residents, regardless of their citizenship or immigration status, can obtain city services, including police protection and medical care. Comer closely questioned each of the mayors about whether their police departments would turn over a criminal to ICE. They are subject to federal laws that includes deportation. Chicago police have always complied with judicial orders executed by federal agents. However, the Welcome City Ordinance prohibits city employees and officials from responding to requests from agencies, including so-called ICE detentions, which seek to have local officials hold undocumented immigrants after completing their sentences until federal agents can take them into custody and start deportation proceedings. Those happen without a court order. Johnson faced much friendlier questioning from Raji, who was from Chicago. Uh, all right, I'm not going to read that. Johnson repeatedly said that Chicago has spent approximately 1% of the city's budget during the past 4 years, which we know they had $1 billion deficit. So, yeah, that's how much money they spent. When pressured by Representative Byron Donalds, Johnson said he did not have detailed figures available. And then Byron Daniels responded, "That's why you're a felon mayor." Those figures are available on the city published database, which shows that Chicago taxpayers spent a total of 268 million, with an additional 375 million coming from state and federal grants to care for migrants between August 2022 and December 2024. Johnson did not respond to Donalds, nor did he respond to Nancy Mace, who insulted Johnson after demanding yes or no answers to a series of questions. Johnson asked Mace, best known for attacking transgender people, to clarify her question. "This is why you have a 6% approval rating, because you suck at answering questions," Mace said, before scoffing at Johnson's statement that Chicago follows all state and federal laws. "I highly doubt it." Then he was questioned about the gifts he has received. There's an apparent gift room, and he got Gucci bag and some a lot of expensive items that were gifted to him. In it, most of the migrants who made their way to Chicago after crossing the southern border are not undocumented after requesting asylum and getting permission to remain in the United States. Yes, yes, they still illegal. They crossed the jungle to get here. The mayor's testimony took place even as federal lawsuit filed by the Justice Department against Chicago begins to begins to work its way through the court system, and they stop funding. The Trump administration has asked U.S. District Court Judge Lindsey Jenkins to invalidate the state, city, and county laws designed to protect undocumented immigrants by prohibiting state and local law enforcement officials from helping federal agents. Chicago families are tired of Brandon Johnson and Illinois Democrats' corruption and extreme far left policies. Okay, okay, I'm gonna come back to that because I'm about to finish this tonight. Now, where was I going? I don't like my cigarette while I do this. Where's my lighter? Because it keep moving and it agitates me. I wonder, am I going to work? I said, no, I'm not going to go to work at 6:30. Okay, here we go. Damn, I went all the way back down there. All right, I'm back where I was. Oh, these the drones. I got to do the drone. We're going to do the drones, the fog, and all that. It's making people sick. So we got to do that. How you can keep yourself healthy. No, that's tripping. Oh no, we don't want to do that. What is this one? Oh no, that's funny. Oh no, that's Jay Z. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. That's where I left off. I'm not gonna do that right along. Hmm. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you sitting up here with me, Samir. Shamir. Okay, here we go.
Of course, we're always going to have haters in our community. Then it didn't work out. Fast forward. An American, so clearly migrants should also, not go through the same things that we go through.
All right, I'm gonna unsend that. I'm not gonna use that.
City Tom Homan plans to clean up is Chicago, where residents are lashing out at Mayor Brandon Johnson.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it.
All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. You got a 14% approval rating, so the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson?
And how did Mayor Brandon Johnson respond to his constituents? Well, he threw him out of the meeting.
Please restore order.
Can I have your attention, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please go to your closest exit.
Joining me now, Chicago resident Vashon Tunsil, who was at that Chicago City Council meeting. Vashon, what's the biggest problem you're seeing with illegals in Chicago right now?
Well, they're getting all of our resources, all the American people in Chicago. Brandon Johnson has given these illegal immigrants over, $500 million while American people struggle and starve on the street. But not only that, now he wants to protect these illegals that's here in Chicago, Illinois, illegally. And I just don't believe that's the right thing to do as a mayor when you have a 14% approval rating. And then the people realize why our city is so bad. It's because they keep voting Democrat.
Oh, which brings me to the point. I mean, it can't be more obvious in Chicago how bad things have gotten.
Right.
I think I hadn't been to Chicago in maybe 3 or 4 years when I went to the DNC with the Fox crew to cover the Democratic convention. And they cleaned it up a lot, but it was different. It's a different place. And you go to the South Side, it's even worse. And it's always been a little bit dangerous, but it's much worse. So what is it? How do they lock down as many of the voters as they do lock down to vote for the Democrats?
Well, I mean, me personally, I just think it's like a generational thing. Like their mothers and their fathers, they tell them to vote Democrat because the Republican, they're for the rich and they're for the white people and this, that, and the third, which I don't think to be true at all. I think that Republicans, they have their best interest for black people. The Democrats, they're the ones that started the KKK. And personally, me growing up, and I see the Democratic Party, you look at people like Barack Obama, and it's just like it's not looking good for what they're doing to these inner cities like Chicago and New York. And I just feel like it's just brainwashing at this point.
Yeah, what did Obama do for Chicago? I mean, Sean,
Absolutely.
wait, hold on one moment. The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, is actually still with us, and he's been listening in on the conversation, everything you've been saying. I think he wants one of your hats. Can you tell Tom directly what you need him to do in Chicago, Vashon?
Well, first I want to say is thank you so much for joining me, Tom Homan. I really appreciate these words with you. And sir, please, I don't care what Brandon Johnson tell you, please come clean up Chicago, Illinois. We need you, Tom Homan. This place sucks right now. And like you said, our city sucks because our governor sucks and our mayor sucks. You were absolutely right about that. And I mean, it couldn't get more broad than that. And I just really appreciate you coming here, just speaking to the people of Chicago, you know, listening to us more than our own mayor. You're actually doing a better job than the mayor is when it comes to listening to us.
Tom?
Well, look, I was there 2 weeks ago, and I spoke to the people there, and you're right. I said the mayor sucks and the governor sucks because of them protecting illegal aliens in your city, especially criminal illegal aliens. Their number one responsibility is protecting the communities. So look, I made a promise 2 weeks ago that I'd be back, and I will be back. When this operation starts, I will be in Chicago. And men and women of ICE are going to be on the streets doing their job. So I appreciate your support. And I met with, when I was out there, I met with black pastors. I met with leaders of the community. They're all on the same page. The only one on a different page is the mayor. And we're going to prove to him that we can come in and make that city safer with or without his help.
Thank you so much, Tom Homan.
Yeah, Vashon and Tom, we're going to check back with you.
And I'm going to tell you, at that point, he had a 14% approval rating. It's now 6. It's now 6. Now look at this. This messed me up. This Chicago. These are illegals in line for food stamps, cars, driver's license. Look at their cars. Illegals with cars in public line in Chicago getting money. These are their cars. They driving better than some Americans. Look at that line. Look at that line. Look at this line.
For mass deportations.
While the money is concerned, others say it's long overdue. Investigative reporter Ben Bradley digs into the issue with a look at the arguments from both sides and how the state law bans police from working with immigration agents.
A police pursuit.
Vehicles continuing through a cornfield.
It ended in a cornfield an hour south of Chicago and illustrates how Illinois law enforcement is handcuffed when it comes to dealing with people in this country illegally. The men denied knowing about the drugs and claimed they fled in fear of being deported. A judge ordered one man detained because of his criminal record, but released the other because the 18-year-old's juvenile criminal history out of state wasn't initially known.
I'll guarantee you'll never see him again.
Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey says he's released countless people from his jail because state law prevents him from even asking about their immigration status.
I can't call ICE and say, this individual is getting released tomorrow, this individual is getting released in 3 hours. I can't. So he walks out the door.
The Illinois law that prohibits local police from detaining a person because of their immigration status was actually signed by...
I just don't believe that Illinois will ever be a safe state until our governor decides to affect policy change, and I don't see him doing that.
What we don't realize is that Barack Obama was the single biggest deporter-in-chief, removing more than 400,000 people.
That's why. This
Remain
Chicago.
after dozens of migrants in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood say they were forced out into the cold just one day before Christmas Eve. Some say they weren't even allowed to retrieve their belongings, but a spokesperson for the mayor's office says the building they were staying in is unsafe. Julian Cruz is live at the Chicago Police Department's 3rd District with the latest. Julian.
Well, Ben, city personnel converging on a large South Shore apartment building accompanied by a large presence of Chicago police officers. Spokespeople for the mayor's office telling us that the migrants are being moved due to safety concerns in the building, but members of the community telling us that the operation was both chaotic and heavy-handed.
I saw groups of children. There's ladies with newborns in their arms.
Neighbors distressed to see families in the cold at 74th and South Phillips the day before Christmas Eve.
They can't even get their coats out of their apartments.
Warming buses and the Salvation Army, among various city agencies, here to support what the mayor's office calls an evacuation due to safety concerns in the large South Shore apartment building. But the migrants telling us that there wasn't adequate notice.
Por ejemplo, yo no tengo ni pandemia y tengo 2 hijos pequeños.
I have 2 small children, a migrant father tells us. One is 2 years old and the other 3, and I don't have anywhere to go. Others upset with what they say is a confusing situation.
You came here with nowhere to go. You walked through a jungle.
Far-left Mayor Brandon Johnson facing calls to resign. It comes after the city's public schools CEO was fired Friday after he refused to take out a $300 million loan for a new teachers union contract. That is the same union that once employed Mayor Johnson. One op-ed arguing it is time for Johnson to resign, saying this, quote, "You have demonstrated you are not a mayor for all of Chicago, but only for your friends at the Chicago Teachers Union. You are willing to use your power to benefit those closest to you while using the children you say you care about as political cover for your disastrous decision-making." Our next guest says this loan was all about Johnson's push to help illegal migrants, already costing his own taxpayers more than $500 million. That's with a B, $billion. Chicago resident Kata Truss joins us now with more. Kata, good morning. What a non-Christmas gift for the CEO, Pedro Martinez. What happened here?
Good morning. Basically, what happened is our mayor has decided that he wanted CEO Pedro Martinez to leave. They asked him to resign when he refused to secure the $300 million loan that the city wanted him to incur. That would have put the city basically in a junk bond status and lowered the city's credit rating. And Pedro refused to adhere to that. Also, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about, prior to our new elected school board being appointed, all of the board members resigned because when the mayor asked them to fire Pedro Martinez initially, they refused, citing that there was no real reason to fire him.
Right.
And the fact that they agreed with him not taking out the loan. And so, we have our mayor who went to our state senator to maneuver the laws that took place that got our elected school board so that the Chicago Teachers Union could have control and of how those people were elected, and also giving the mayor more control, or CTU, because they're one and the same, when the appointments for the Chicago new elected board were appointed. And so as you see, initially, all of the members were supposed to be elected. And Mayor Johnson went to our state senator, I guess head in hand, and asked him to do things a little differently and to change how the members were going to be appointed, as well as how they were elected. I think that we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that they ask these parents and regular community members to come up with 1,000 signatures in order to get on the ballot. Now, keep in mind that we have congressmen and state senators who don't have to have more than 300 signatures to get on the ballot. So to ask a parent to come up with that kind of signatures was already setting parents up to fail, putting him in a position to appoint the people that he wanted to appoint, which is why we have now our CEO of the Chicago Public Schools now being fired.
Let's take a look at our reviews about Mayor Johnson's record, a 908.
And this is why he is awful.
Brandon, come on down to the Price is Right. Come on down to the Price is Right. This is what they say Brandon got going on over in Chicago, y'all.
Far left Mayor Brandon Johnson facing calls to resign. It comes after the city's public schools CEO was fired.
Oh, that's the same thing. So I can get rid of that one. I'm going to finish this. I guess it's going to have to be a part 5 because I'm sleepy now. So I'm going to finish this up to here. Yep, it's going to have to be a part 5. Well, maybe I don't have no more. Let me see. I'm getting sleepy. I think that's it. I think I am. Let me see.
Oh, you still working? Hey, how many people you got in there?
No, just one.
You live right now?
Yes. I was looking for the rest of this, but I think I'm sleepy now.
Where you?
Yeah, so I'm sleepy now. Thank you, Samir, for sitting up here with me. I really appreciate that. I guess it's gonna have to be a part 5. Yeah. All right, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Appreciate you. Have a good night. So this what, 4 in the morning?